So salted popcorn, there's a 5% GST. For a pre-packaged popcorn, there is a 12% GST, and for a caramel popcorn, there is a 18% GST.
I just say I've moved to makhana as the healthier alternative. As I clearly can't afford popcorn anymore, guys.
Is Nirmala Sitharaman really a bad finance minister, or does everyone hate her for the sake of hating?
I do feel that ministers should represent people more than their officers.
Is Nandan Nilekani spying on us?
We don't have data protection rules. We don't have a GDPR policy. Our DPDP bill is still in progress from last 10 years. Our data security is a myth.
Yeah, sure. This is super. This is like controversial, etc. But I don't think this is the right way to do it. Even though obviously you have a lot of the travel data of folks on Digiyatra.
I don't know. I've heard like very, very weird stories of a lot of people beyond Nandan Nilekani involved in this.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Indian Startup Desktop. Let's go. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. Hello.
Wishing everybody a very, very happy New Year's, guys.
Along with Saksham, so is Vijay Malia. Happy Christmas and best wishes for the new year. Damn it, let's go. Let's start all our New Years like this.
This guy literally posts on very specific occasions. Happy New Year, Ganesh Chaturthi, Deepavali, Christmas. That's it.
Yeah, Pawan. Lakshmi, Saraswati, like all the words for money and wealth and like knowledge and all of that.
He did not want to piss Santa, I guess. That's why.
Yeah.
So there's this tradition that's become very popular in India, grapes and New Year. I actually got to know about it after I saw the founder of Blinkit's post. What's with the sudden craze for grapes today? It's one of the highest ordered items on the platform since morning.
If you know, you know.
Alvida, it's an age-old Spanish tradition to eat 12 grapes and wish for prosperity in 2025. Honestly, now a marketing technique by grape farmers in Europe who 10x the supply and 3x the price each December. Think Gloria from Modern Family popularized this in India. Interesting.
Clearly FOMO driven. This just goes on to show that the quick commerce janta who are buying stuff from quick commerce are trying to be westernized, get influenced a lot by content which is from offshores and want to do what other people are doing. That's it.
Damn, but it's crazy that these founders have to stay, very much in tune with the trends that's happening because, ultimately, quick commerce or rather any commerce for that matter depends upon, how quickly you can capitalize on a lot of trends that's existing.
I think so brands should start having jobs where they hire a Gen Z, a millennial, and a boomer whose job is to clearly find out trends which are going on in their generation.
I swear.
Yeah, but I mean,
Just
that's
outsource-
essentially glorified catalog management, right? That's what catalog management exactly as a job profile is, right?
Yeah, but now this is based on trends as per your age persona,
Yeah, interesting.
not on demand essentially.
Dude, why don't we only do this for a bunch of companies, dude? It's, Pawan, I think let's
Yeah,
start with
actually.
your company first.
Panto.
Yeah.
But let's move to another 31st December tradition. December 31st plans, others, party, dinner, gigs, startup reporters, track Deepinder Goyal, Albinder, Harry Nathan from Big Basket, and a bunch of other startup and quick commerce founders. Also, track NPCI for UPI market share circular. Damn, NPCI drops this on 31st December over.
Yeah, they did yesterday. They just lifted onboarding restrictions on WhatsApp. Now everyone can do it, and they also extended the law that prevented Phone Pay and Google Pay to hold the duopoly for next 2 years. So that means probably we'll be just seeing like two people or two players in the market having largest market share for UPI payments.
Okay, let's move to the next section. Friends tell me certain angel investors in Bangalore are writing 50K checks. Bhai, angel investing छोड़ो, SIP करने पे focus करो. Pawan, is this friend you?
भाई इससे ज्यादा तो मेरे कर्जे स्प्लिट वाइज पे चल रहे हैं.
This is crazy, like how angel investors are actually like have the audacity to offer a 50,000 rupee check. Like, Pete, what do you think about this?
Dude, look at this. Look, I get what you're trying to say, but a lot of us sitting on tech Twitter don't realize that even 50K is more than most will save over the course of a year. So, while, yeah, I think for tech companies and for the usual companies that we see around, 50K might be nothing, but for somebody who's starting an actual business, I think it's something.
I feel the correlation here is most people look at angel investing as an asset class, which actually gives suboptimal returns. It doesn't even match the mutual fund returns in some way. Most people do angel investing just to get into the limelight, the attention that they get with it, the credibility that comes associated with it, right? That's the main thing that people are aiming at, which does not lead to like good returns, to be very honest. So people should
It's also
actually
linked
focus
with
on.
FOMO a lot, I feel. Like now it's become a little bit of trending thing that if you're not an angel, how will society validate you? People won't think that you're doing well in life. Like it's a little bit of that as well, I feel.
Yeah,
This
I
is usually those kind of people who put angel investor in their LinkedIn and Twitter bio. उसने probably एक या दो angel checks लिखे होंगे यही 50,000 के.
Yeah,
Pawan, did
let's
you
That's
do
the
put
that.
thing.
that?
No, Pawan, let's do it. No, let's write 10,000 rupees 3-4 checks and be like angel investor.
Saste angels must be feeling after investing, right? My God. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the GST special. So the finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman came under a lot of fire for in the last couple of weeks for her, let's say, very complex tax slabs. So salted popcorn, there's a 5% GST. For a pre-packaged popcorn, there is a 12% GST, and for a caramel popcorn, there is a 18% GST. Complexity is a bureaucrat's delight and a citizen's nightmare. What do you guys think? Quick thoughts, Pawan?
I mean, it's fire, guys. Everyone should pay their taxes. We all should pay our taxes on time. Let's include one more slab, right? If the caramel comes with cheese, it should be 24% then. And if you add like coriander on top of it, it should be 27%.
Yeah.
Then, if we add tandoori sauce on it, especially for Delhi people like Saksham and all, it should be 32%.
Okay, Saksham, do you want to chip in?
I just say I've moved to makhana as the healthier alternative, as I clearly can't afford popcorn anymore, guys. So like, that's what's
Look at
happened.
this. Nirmala Taxa Raman.
That's very cringe. Why did you have to read that, Pete?
Ah, can we get the link to buy the shirts in the comments here?
Is Nirmala Sitharaman really a bad finance minister, or does everyone hate her for the sake of hating?
I do feel that she has a lot less of a scope to change things which her office suggests to her, but I also do believe that she has enough power to stand by people and say that people deserve better and go against the office and make things for good. I mean, again, I'm an outsider. I don't know what goes on in all these internal channels actually, but I do feel that ministers should represent people more than their officers.
Yeah, I fully agree. Actually, I feel the same. Just the fact that a lot of finance ministers earlier also have received a lot of flack, right? It'll always keep happening, like, all through our lifetime. While she comes out and she always tries to explain the rationale behind why a new policy is implemented, I just feel like she's always speaking on behalf of the government and never taking people's side and trying to see how it can also help people, or what is the long-term vision that the government has had to implement a new policy or a new sort of a rule or a new tax slab or whatever XYZ.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Saksham. I think so as well. While I'm sure she's done, or she's rather doing a lot of, great things. She always feels like she's speaking on behalf of the government and not really of the people. But that being said, guys, the salaried folks like you and me working in private companies who are on socials, every now and then. Uh, we are a minority, right? So in some sense, she doesn't really have to cater to us or even speak on behalf of us. We are a minority, and there's a large chunk of people who she'd rather speak on behalf for. So
But unfortunately, this is the minority that's paying the majority of the taxes for the country, right? And we are the ones who also deserve that infrastructure that we're really shelling out all of our literal hard-earned money for. Like, you can't
yeah,
convince me.
Yeah, I don't think so. I feel it's a never-ending topic. We can just be at the mercy of the country that we live in and abide by the policies with least choice. The max that we can do is exercise our vote, but one of our votes can't do this change as well. So we can just hope for government to think about salaried classes as a sector, do well for them, and just have our fingers crossed. Nothing
Yeah.
beyond that.
Or just move out of the country.
Yeah,
That's also. I know, Pawan,
that's something that you have control over.
I know you are
Yeah.
explaining it very.
did not think Nirmala Sitharaman will be the reason I finally quit sugar. And
This
Actually,
is
actually a very nice way. I think I
look
was
at this.
reading about this. Americans and Indians are like the two nationalities in the world who are like, they have a lot of obesity and just a lot of sugar consumption. If this leads to Indians eating a little bit of less sugar, then maybe it's for the greater good of the community and society in general.
I feel I feel this is the half full glass being half full or half empty wala
Yeah.
conversation. Different perspective of looking at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Don't give such ideas. I'm sure like somebody who's very pro current government will actually say that this is the reason why they were trying
Yeah.
to
I am saying go for it. Please say this is the reason. Just quote us. Quote us. Quote the Indian startup desktop. And that's all we want.
You're right. See, there you
Uh,
go. Sugar is bad for health. We all should thank.
You were that.
Let's move on to the weekly feed. This is a bit of a sad news, but Epigamia, a very famous D2C brand whose yogurts and yoga bars we all love, their co-founder Rohan passed away of a heart attack on December 20th. He was in his early 40s. He launched Epigamia's parent company in 2013 after studying at NYU Stern and Wharton School. He often cited a lecture in Mumbai which highlighted the lack of innovation in India's FMCG market as the eureka moment that inspired him to start his own ventures. Guys, have you folks heard of Epigamia before? Do you want to give your quick comments over here?
Yeah, I mean, have been an active user and a consumer of Epigamia. The yogurts, I think, are so popular. Everyone has had them, I'm sure. Have had their health, protein bars and whatnot. It's just extremely sad. Like, I was actually discussing this earlier today with my partner as well, that, we're chasing something constantly. We're chasing success. We're chasing money. We're chasing a lot of these things. And then suddenly a founder of a brand which promotes healthy lifestyle, which is all about just, taking care of yourself. And you see these things happen, it's just extremely sad. So like, yeah, our prayers go out to his family.
Yeah.
Epigamia, I suppose, was a very interesting brand. The first time when I heard about them was in a brand integration with Cloud Pocket Aces. They used to run a quiz called as Loco and like a couple of small shows. This was 2018, 2019, if I'm not wrong. And I felt like why the people of India would spend like a 50 rupees on a yogurt, which is usually known as dahi and is available in 3x the quantities at 8 rupees or 10 rupees the price at that time. Why would someone pay a 50 rupees? But over a period of time, I feel that they ensured that people love the product, people have a different way of consuming it, having a healthy angle to it. As he clearly mentions in this LinkedIn post as well, that innovation in FMCG market. They clearly pioneered it and were one of the first few people to get started with enabling a lot of people to do that as well.
Cool. Let's move on to the next thing that got viral, last week. So you might have seen this bunch of comments, tier one, tier two, tier three, people saying this. But this is the India edition for VCs. Tier one, Peak 15, Elevation, Matrix, Nexus, Bloom, and Axel. And tier two, everyone else.
Can we check how many of these VCs actually had invested in an academy, and we will
Dude,
know
look at
whether they
this.
are truly tier one or not?
Dude, so Weber from Better Capital actually replied to this tweet. Raising money from a good fund might not drastically increase your chances of success. Sometimes it might. But raising money from a bad fund is a sure shot way to failure. So do ref checks on them just like they do on you. Chief, with respect, this is wrong on so many levels. And surprising it is coming from an experienced and scaled founder like you. The list you quoted is almost equally random. As far as venture capital is concerned, the only ranking that matters is that of IRR and IRR alone. Pavan, what do you think? What is
I,
your
I feel I neither agree with neither the academy founder or Vaibhav. I think so. Uh, a fund's conviction on a founder or on a startup is very subjective matter, and it has nothing to do with IRR alone. Is what I feel. IRR can be one of those metrics because there are so many things when you start a startup. You might choose to have a specific fund on your board because they have a host of startups which have a USGTM, and you would need a USGTM. That can be one of the metrics. You would need a specific host of customers at the start, and one of the funds already has their existing customers, existing people working with them on those aspects. You can choose them because of that. It can be a clear conviction on what an angel brings on the table or the investor brings on the table, because of which you can choose. IRR is one of the metrics, is what I feel. And clearly, Vaibhav is being Vaibhav. He runs better capital, much experience. I might be wrong here. That's the way I would go. As a founder, I would want to have an investor on my cap table or on board who can contribute to my success beyond money. Money is definitely one part of it.
Got it. Anyway, let's move on to, is Nandan Nilekani spying on us? So a
Hmm.
post blew up, a couple of days earlier, where Roshan, this character, mentioned almost everything Nandan Nilekani has touched in public space is a surveillance project or regulatory capture. This came after an article of which says that the tax department is going to tap into Digiyatra data to go after tax evaders, which honestly is a little crazy if you think about it. But different associations within an organization or within a government talking to each other is not bad. It's just that the nature of these operations is just a little skewed. What do you think, Pavan? Firstly,
Do
do you
you
think this guy mistook Digi Yatra for Digi Locker?
I don't think so. I did read a couple of reports around it. It was Digi Yatra only. But I have like couple of doubts around this. First of all, the legitimacy of this article is a question. I went on in this rabbit hole of figuring out whether this is true. I don't see this to be a totally true news article. That was the first part of it. Second part, if government actually wants to do it, do you think they need your permission to do that? Or Digiyatra's permission to do that? They are anyway gonna go do it. We don't have data protection rules. We don't have a GDPR policy. Our DPDP bill is still in progress from last 10 years. Our data security is a myth. Like India doesn't have data security laws altogether. So if someone wants to hold you by accountable for you traveling abroad with not having money in your bank account, you would be held liable irrespective of where the data is coming from.
Yeah, I also feel a lot of the tax evasion which is being talked about, right? I don't think the real tax evaders are using Digiyatra. Like these are the folks who are either running their own businesses or like trying flying first class and all of that. They're either ways not standing in a queue and just trying to bypass the queues in a Digiyatra. So I also think this won't actually target the right set of people that you want to actually do, and maybe those are not the people that you also even want to find out to some extent.
But government
Could be
also
very.
don't want to target right set of people, no?
Yeah, sure. This is this is like controversial, etc. But I don't think this is the right way to do it. Even though obviously you have a lot of the travel data of folks on Digiyatra.
Imagine crypto bros who are using Digiyatra. They must be scared for their life now.
Yeah, I saw a tweet. I think which spoke about this, that now that they have Digiyatra, they'll be able to see how you are traveling to 10 different countries in a year and all major cities in India without really having a stable income.
Yeah. But damn, dude, like, while I knew that Nandan Nilekani was involved in Aadhaar and everything, I didn't know he had a hand in Digi Yatra, which is a private company. Maybe he was just an advisor or something, and this just blew out of proportion.
I don't know. I've heard like very, very weird stories of a lot of people beyond Nandan Nilekani involved in this, and this entire Vijayatra
Yeah,
project was. I heard like it was done in a very shady way. Like suddenly there were people who
that's
came
right.
across, deployed this in airports, get the entire setup up and running in like couple of weeks, which for a government kind of initiative is very hard to believe that they have done it in that way.
Okay, um, let's move on to the next topic. Why you should never trust Amazon. Uh, this is a very interesting post that blew up a couple of days back. But look at this. I went from selling 20 lakh of products per day to watching my generational wealth dream crumble under Amazon. And e-commerce founders shared the story of their rise and fall on Amazon. Give me some time. 4 years ago, I was living a dream I never thought possible. My humble brand of home organizers were dominating on Amazon and Flipkart, raking in nearly 20 lakhs in daily revenue at its peak. Today, that business is practically gone, undone by Amazon's move into private labels that mimic my success. And I'm figuring out my next steps. I'm not broke or working on 9 to 5, but the potential for creating true generational wealth was ripped out from under me before it could fully materialize. This is my cautionary tale, how I turned a small initial investment into a booming enterprise, only to watch it crumble when the biggest player on the block decided to compete directly. I saw Amazon's brand launching suspiciously similar items, same size, shape, and function, undercutting me by 10 to 20% in price. Almost overnight, my best SKUs lost their top spots in search. Where I once dominated page one, Solimo ads and listings took over. My daily revenue started a downhill slide from 80 lakhs to 60 lakhs, then 25 lakhs and on down. My ad spend shot up because I had to pay more just to stay visible. Meanwhile, Amazon's private labels got prime real estate for free. Fuck, this is crazy, guys.
Yeah.
So
Also,
this just goes on to say, in last episode we covered why dropshipping is a crazy legit business, and there is a lot of value in adding, but there is a lot of value in building a brand. This goes on to say that it might not be your seller who will replace you. It might be the marketplace who will take a note of it, who has control of your entire distribution, understand the business, help you in the path, and one day just replace you off and take the whole thing for
I
themselves.
mean, to be fair to Amazon or any marketplace in this case, they did give him an offer to, like, buy him out. So it's not like they just undercut him and directly straight to market. They did give an option to make certain amount of wealth, but I think that's where, that's what they say about greed, right? You don't know when to stop.
Yeah, there are two perspectives of it. One being like, okay, you can't be greedy, you can buy out and be respectful for Amazon. On the other side, also see you don't have a choice left. If Amazon says you sell your brand, you better sell your brand.
Then you,
They
yeah,
own the
then
customer.
you be smart
They,
enough and better sell it. Yeah, that's true.
I think it's a little crazy because the truth is, Amazon, because they are one of the largest marketplaces, in fact, the largest marketplace in the world, they can do this, right? If any of us were Amazon, we'd probably do the same thing as well. But look, one thing is very certain. If majority of your customers are coming through a third party channel, then the truth is they are not your customers. They are the platform's customers. Now, whether
yeah.
these are content creators on YouTube who have millions of following on YouTube, Instagram, etc. Even for them, right? This logic holds true because one day the marketplace or the platform can just directly replace all your content with something similar that they create, and essentially your business and your following is going to go down to the shits.
Okay.
But kudos to this guy. I hope he will come out, he will build one more strong business, figure out a new category, and next time sell out
Yeah,
the brand to Amazon.
I'm sure
I
he's
swear.
also made
Kudos to
enough
him.
money already. If his monthly revenues were crossing in crores, it's I think his dilemma is more about, oh, I could have made 100 crores, but I'm only sitting at 10, 15, 20 crores, like whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at his learning, guys. Don't put everything on one platform. Take acquisition offers seriously. Watch your money and growth. Stay flexible and branch out. Never get too comfortable. In
Yeah.
retrospect, it maybe wasn't Amazon's fault either. If I was in their place, I probably would have also done something similar since my incentive was to grow my revenue. I was one of the luckier ones to get an offer from them. Of what I know, not everyone did. Ma'am, this guy is very thoughtful, very
Yeah.
humble. So kudos to him, and I really hope he gets back up.
That's the reason why he built that brand for 20 lakhs per day revenue also. He is very thoughtful. He knows the business. He has done it, been there.
Let's move on to the weekly chatter. Let's introspect on some of the interesting trends in fintech in 2024. DPI 2.0, the Lego blocks of finance. India's DPI ambitions have become more audacious in 2024 with the emergence of more sophisticated applications. For example, credit on UPI, cross border payments, UPI Circle, etc. The account aggregator framework reached a significant milestone with over 100 million cumulative consents, while credit on UPI has moved from concept to reality, with RuPay credit card UPI transactions surging twofold to almost 64,000 crore in just first 7 months of FY 2025. What do you guys think? What do you guys think has been some of the very interesting trends that you've spotted over the last year in fintech, especially?
I
I feel
actually,
now people have started to think beyond lending as a business line, but revenue centers still happen to be lending only. Although, like other channels or other products that people are building which are beyond lending happen to be a cheaper way of acquiring customers or a lucrative way of acquiring customers. That's it. Uh, what do you guys think is the one thing beyond lending? If you guys had an option right now to build, what would be the business that you would be venturing into?
I
Pete,
think
you want to go first?
cross border is definitely up there because cross border today uh, is largely untapped, right? You know about the stuff that's happening with your stripes of the world, where they're slowly kind of moving out of the country. Obviously, we know that Indian PGs like Razorpay, Pay You Cash Free has horrible success rate with international payments. So I think cross border has a lot of scope, and I think that's where the next set of growth for fintech in India is going to happen.
yeah. Also, one is cross border, by using cards, net banking, all of those modes. Second, I think for UPIs, global expansion also, right? I think it's high time. It's been around for almost a decade now, like, roughly around 8, 9 years. I also think it has to significantly expand globally, at least to countries which are, at least the neighboring countries of India, or at least all the Southeast Asian countries, and some countries where at least the tourism is more, like where Indians can travel visa free, for example. Some of that. But coming to Pete's original point, I think one thing apart from lending, which is also done well, is honestly account aggregator, right? Like being in this space, I have now been involved in this space for the last almost 2.5, 3 years, right? And just being able to see the growth last year has been very, very sort of pleasing in some sense, because while seeing a lot of banks resist getting onboarded an account aggregator, and looking at actually digitizing some of this sort of data sharing seemed like a distant dream just a couple of years ago, versus if you look at last year, and like it said, right, 100 million consents. My sense is this year this number will at least quadruple or become 5 times, and it won't be a linear growth as we've seen in the last couple of years.
Interesting.
Yeah,
For
I
me,
mean,
I feel it is, I would be very interested in fraud as a sector. The tools that are available in the AI sector now
Actually, yeah, we should focus
are
on fraud. Like,
enabling
yeah, this year I think RBI also just curbed a lot of fraud businesses, a lot of legitimate NBFCs that we've all heard of, like a DMI Finance, like a Navi FinServ, like an Incred, all received notices and huge hefty fines from the RBI, right? So I think that's another sector
the
that companies should focus on, how to do fraud prevention, maybe leverage AI and LLMs to build fraud prevention softwares and tools, which then can be sold to a bank, a lender, an NBFC, all of these. And also potentially, it could be one product line that you can look at building if you are a fintech company in 2025.
I think so. A lot of people are building that already. I mean, the company that we used to work
Yeah,
also, I used to do the exact same thing that you are mentioning. But the point here is now people and the common man, the 150 crore people in India who is getting activated for this lending as an offering or any financial services has an access to an artificial intelligence layer as well, which is much sophisticated and much powerful now. Personating someone's identity, becoming someone else is much easier task now rather than it was like few years behind, a few years back. So actual solutions which ensure that you are you. You are the ones who is seeking a transaction, or you are the one who is doing a transaction, or you are the one who is taking a loan. I think so will have immense value, and
I
there would be
actually have
more.
a question on this, right? And tell me your thoughts, Pawan, Pete. How, now, while we know all these name matching softwares have existed for the last 5, 6 years, right? How important do they become now with the onset of, like Pawan, you mentioned all things AI, impersonation becoming so much easier, right? How important does APIs like a face match or name match just become more important, and why should maybe some companies focus on building on top of it and making it better, which I also don't think has happened. Like a lot of innovation has not happened in this space, at least in India, in the last few years, I feel. Pete, why don't you go first?
Look, I think, in fact, I'd go back to your previous, point, right? I actually think there's a lot more maturity that needs to happen, in this space. We are still, India as a market, especially in financial services, we are still in this build versus buy, conundrum, where companies, just to prove a thesis or just to get a sense of what is happening, they will buy a software from one of the providers. But eventually, over a certain point, once they realize that it's eating out of their bottom line, they'll start to build this in-house as well. I just hope that changes, or I want that itself to, let's say, the conversation itself to mature, which hasn't happened, in the last few years. Hopefully, it will happen in the next couple of years as well, which is what something I think. The point that you guys mentioned about AI as well, Bajaj Finance, which is one of the largest and oldest lenders in the country, today they parade themselves as an AI company, right? Which is crazy if you think about it. Where did I read that? Yeah, for instance, aims to become a FNAI company with plans to leverage
Yeah,
AI in 20 areas. Now, look at this, a company that has no background in AI but has just been a core finance company is now bringing in AI capabilities in house. And unfortunately, this is the direction that a lot of large financial institutions has unfortunately gone towards. And
yeah.
that's where the product versus service conversation also kind of comes up from. So yeah, I just hope we get more clarity and more maturity from the market on this particular point.
Yeah,
I feel people went from physical to digital. I think so. In this AI world, there would be a layer that people will come down from digital to being a phygital, where offline verification,
Yeah.
someone ensuring that it's the right person, will have like a large emphasis given in near future is what I feel.
but what about all the all the transformation that we have also been in some sense part of, right? To say that we wanted everything to move digital. And now we are sort of going back in some sense by making it slightly more phygital, I would say physical, like you mentioned. But isn't that also in some sense going back in time?
No, it's not actually. It's about like delivering convenience at that value. Like you take your quick commerce, like everyone said that 10 minutes delivery is ridiculous. Why do you even need like 10 minutes delivery? But the fact is that everyone's using it and everyone's saying that 10 minutes is too much, give me it in 5 minutes. How can I shorten the time further? That's
Yeah,
the trends that are going on right now, right? In the similar way, I don't think so people will compromise on time as a metric going forward. It doesn't matter whether it's digital or physical.
Yeah.
People would want that service in instant. You doesn't matter, you do it physical, you do it digital, you go to Mars and get that to me, it doesn't matter. You get me the solution, people will be okay with either of the modes.
I see.
yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, let's move on to Varun Mayya's 2025 predictions. Some predictions for 2025. Will score myself 2025 end.
Okay.
India will not just announce but put out a playable demo of a AAA game. Content creators will absorb and be graded similar to consumer app DAUs, MAUs, and will expand inventory via avatars. VFX becomes trivial. iPhone app point and shoot. Video editing will go very mainstream. Google, Nvidia will come out as clear winners. Software founders will have an existential crisis, not directly because of AI, but because of competition and commoditization. YouTube absolutely crushes Netflix in Netflix's customer base, etc., etc. Lots of new and pretty electric vehicles. What do you guys think?
Interesting.
I
I
like the YouTube point. I think so. It's already happening. I feel first and
Yeah,
second points are also happening. Like I have tasks like Varun Mayya only is doing it.
I
So
also feel
most of the
video
points
editing
are
is,
reality already.
yeah, video editing is also becoming mainstream. Like, look at us, right? A year ago, we never thought we'd probably be doing a podcast on a YouTube channel, and today we are trying to be fairly regular with it. So I think that's happening. Nvidia, we all know.
Like, share, and subscribe, guys.
okay. I think that's it from this week's edition of the Indian Startup Desktop. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel below. See you next week. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Sheesh, dude. Man, Indians can't just live and let live, no?
This is so last year. This negativity is so last year, guys. I've come into this new year with a lot of positivity now.
Yes, exactly. We need fresh negativity
Yes.
now.